Well, apparently we're live with Adcock.
It's always funny at the beginning of one of these because you're waiting and then we're live. You just hope you're not caught doing this or
Exactly.
before it starts.
Oh, exactly.
Yelling at the kids.
Yeah.
So, what's our topic for today, Miss Susie Godsey?
Well, it's about this lovely topic of death and dying, which I'm sure many people are looking forward to always,
It's amazing how much gets created around this whole. I'm just turning off a few notifications. It's amazing just talking about it with people, what it brings up. There's, you can feel people's stomach churning, and there's so much emotion that gets churned up around it. And especially the biggest topic, I think, is knowing when to put an animal to sleep.
Yeah.
So shall we talk about that?
Sure. Absolutely. And what I wanted to say too, of course, I was being facetious and bad, but the thing that I always find so interesting too is how many people are avoiding to actually have animals in their lives because of this one thing. And that to me is so saddening too, because, some people really, it would be great for them to have animals and vice versa. And then they just won't do it because of this. So yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, and isn't that really interesting? Because you just pinged something for me, because it's like people, is it the comfortable distance? Is it the thing they think they're staying safe by not being engaged or loving something or contributing and having something in their world? Because that's a massive topic on its own.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to me, what I've noticed is a lot of times, once you have a few tools where you can actually have a different perspective on all of this, then it makes all that easier. So, so actually, let's start with with this whole topic on putting an animal to sleep and when is a good time for that, Viv? I am sure you've done a few of those.
Yes, and look, I cannot sing the praises of the Access Consciousness tools enough, because I would say that would be the one thing that would have dominated in the early days, would have dominated my choice to have a cat or a dog. And I tend to take on rescue animals that sometimes it's towards the end of their life. You're not even having them from a puppy all the way through. And to take a dog on that has only got a limited time, whether it's got a diagnosis or it's only, it's getting towards the end of its years, but the tools of Access have really helped me just live in the moment and appreciate the very gift that animal brings, because every animal is going to bring you something totally different. Like people, we're all different, right? We've all got different traits and contributions and capacities. And when is that moment? When is that moment that And I get that a lot of people do know, but they avoid that they know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one thing really that I have noticed too, like the biggest tool for in this moment is to really have a conversation with the body of that animal, because in Access we have this awareness of looking at body and being as two separate entities. And if you talk to the being doesn't die. So if you ask the being, so when is a good time to put you down, the being most likely won't even give you an accurate anything, because it's like, what are you talking about? But it won't have that conversation with you either. It's really more like this weird energy where also you might be getting this yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no all the time, where you're just not sure what's going on, because you're talking to the body and the body might say, yes, I'm done. Please, help me get out of here. And the being is like, oh, I don't die. No, let's keep going. So if you basically are not aware to really just pick the body and talk to the body, and I have to say, like, even this one time my cat actually got eaten by coyotes, and but I didn't know, and so she was missing, and so we kept asking, and she was like, I'm fine, I'm over here, I'm fine. And so finally I found her body, well, what's left of it. It wasn't a whole lot. But then I was like, what was that I'm fine thing? It was so loud and clear. And then I realized, oh, I never asked if her body was okay and if her body was still alive. I was only just connecting with her, and she was like, yeah, I'm over here, I'm fine. Because the being was like, well, I'm good.
And this is a major point, ladies and gentlemen. This is a major point, because I haven't come across anybody else, anything else that actually has this ability to talk to the body, because we do kind of lump everything together, even with people. It's like their bodies are well and truly done, but we insist on pumping them full of medication, or, sticking them on machines to try and keep them alive. It's like, well, is their body done? And it can be and it might sound a bit cold-hearted to some people, but because they go into but no, if you're willing to have the true caring and the true kindness and the capacity to choose for that animal or even the person, giving them permission, it's like, okay, is your body done? It creates a different space for you to ask that question from, where I find there's less emotional attachment to the being. So it helps that transition for you and for them, because if we're hanging on to them, if we've got a whole bunch of emotional stuff that we don't want them to go, and we want to hang on to them because they've filled a part of our life, or they've been, they've contributed to our world, it makes it really difficult, for us to let go, which then makes it more difficult for them to transition. And this goes exactly the same for people. So, what space can you be to have that clarity, and what space can you be to honor their choice, honor the body's choice, and honor the transition? And it's such a gift when you come from that place, because it just makes it so much easier. The grieving is a lot less, because there isn't the toing and froing and the tugging of all the emotions that are mixed up and thrown into the blender with letting that body go. So it can get much easier with some tools, and just being able to process yourself through some stuff as well, because it does bring stuff up. We love these furry things, so yeah.
And it is, the interesting part about that is also recognizing that you never have to lose contact with the being. The body is gone, but the being actually a lot of times is very willing to keep conversing with you and sticking around. And I think a lot of us have seen that too, where, our animals pass and then we see them out of the corner of our eye in our flat or in our house or somewhere on the property. And, that's the being letting us know, hey, I'm still here. I'm still with you. The body may not be here anymore, but the being sure is. And, if you want to get really woo-woo, you can even ask that being if it would like to come back in another body, if you're ready for that. And I have met so many people that have said, oh, this is my old cat. This is my old dog. I know it for sure. They have similar traits. They look at me this way, and I know it's them, and so whether you believe in it or not, but this is another tool that you can use too, to make all this easier for you, because it's not goodbye forever. It's goodbye to this body, but not necessarily to the being. So that's also something that can help, possibly to just be more relaxed, because the one thing too is we get so tense about it. And I have to say, like, every session so far that I've ever had with anybody whose pet died, where they had, some fear that they weren't doing the right thing, or they did it too soon or too late, or any of those things, I have to yet meet the pet that had a grudge about that.
Because they don't have a point of view, right?
No.
They're just glad. They're grateful that they've had the experience with the family and the body, and they've had the lifetime. It's like they don't have the points of view that we tend to project onto them. And I know one thing that really helped me with Mia, my black lab that actually introduced me to all of this wild and woo-woo stuff, when she left, it was just, I'm so grateful for you, Mia. Thank you so much for being such a great dog, and for coming into my life and opening all the doors and contributing all the incredible awareness and the people you've connected me to along the way. It's like, if you are going to put an animal down or to sleep, whichever word you prefer, that's just be grateful for them, stroke them, let them know, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for being a great horse, a great dog, a great snake, whatever you've had as a pet, Yeah. And that gratitude also eliminates any judgment that you might be doing of yourself, or any weirdness, or, that twistedness that we can get into, like you say, Susie, about, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? Is it the right time? What if there was no right time? But like you say, you can just relax into knowing that you are honoring the animal. It's not about you per se. It's about honoring their transition.
Yeah. And really, my cat she was so brilliant, the one that got eaten by the coyotes, because I was so upset about that. And I was, I was furious and I was upset and all this kind of stuff, and then she actually came to me and she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just so mad at, you're no longer here and all this stuff." And she's like, "Why aren't you honoring my choice?" And I was like, "Oh, oops,
Wow.
I'm sorry." It blew me. I mean, I had to actually sit down and apologize, because I realized, wow, all this stuff that I was doing was about me. It wasn't about her. And it certainly had nothing to do with her, which is okay too. We go through our own stuff, but sometimes we, like you said earlier, we twist all that together and we lump it all together when it really doesn't. If we were clearer on all of that, oh, I'm sad because it's about me right now, but we get it, so we're like, oh, we're sad for the animal. And she made it so clear, no, it was my choice to go. I chose this. And I thought, whoa, okay, so you chose this. Okay, cool. Wait a minute. And I realized she really was done, and she was ready to go, and the coyote was a great way to do it. So who am I to judge that, And
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's another amazing point. It's animals make their own choices. I think a lot of people just assume that their animal is just this lump. It's just this, this animal, that they don't have their own capacity to choose. It's like, no, they do have their own choices. They do make choices. That's a great story, Susie. Absolutely. And I know with another part that just popped for me too is I had a client who was very, very close to this Australian cattle dog. And for about 14 years, this dog, they were just, side by side. And when that dog died, she was so devastated. She grieved for years and years and years. And she said, I'm never getting another animal. I'm never going through this again, which is what we began the conversation with. And it was after about 6 months, every time I saw this lady, because she came to me for private sessions, there was always this hole in my world, or in her world, that I was aware of, because there was this massive gap. And I very gently, I made a few suggestions. Have you thought about another dog? No, I'm never having another dog, never having another dog. Anyway, This went on for about 5 or 6 years, and nearly every session I saw this woman probably once every 6 weeks or so, and it was the same. It was always there. And then just recently she came and she goes, oh, I have to show you my pictures, because she always asks after Bella and wants to see photos of Bella. And so she said, oh, I've got to show you, look. And she's got these 2 cats that her nephew has given her. He's over in the States at the moment seeing his girlfriend. And, oh, can you just look after these cats for 6 weeks for me? I'm like, nice one. Every time she comes in now, she's showing me the pictures of the cats and telling me all these stories of the cats. And so these 2 feline magical beings have managed to come in the side door and kind of weave their way into her world. And she is absolutely besotted. And she's telling me about the story that this one the cat was terrified, and this cat was really connected with her and really bonded with her more than the really outgoing one. And she is absolutely totally taken. So, the animals have got lots of wily ways to get into our world. So the healing that's going on for her is just such a gift. And she probably hasn't quite put 2 and 2 together. And I'm not going to say anything.
Oh yeah, I know. But she also said, I'll never have a dog again. She didn't talk about cats, so you never know.
I didn't get that one. They're very clever. Very, very clever.
Very clever, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Susie. Is there anything else you want to add? This has been another amazing conversation.
Oh, well, thank you, Viv. I mean, I always enjoy these too. And somebody was actually mentioning here on the comments that I do actually have an entire landing page for people to explore this whole thing with audios a little meditation and everything. So we'll put that in the comments so you can find that, because it might be helpful if you are in that situation. And by the way, really take your time with this too, and please be honoring of you, whatever you need too, because it's about you too. You're going through this with your pet, and so you have to be honoring of you too. But just know, pets, they don't really have the same point of view that we have about dying, number one. And number two, they are so willing to always contribute to you. So if you keep asking them to hang on, they will. And that may not always be a contribution to their body. And so maybe really just look at that too and go, who am I doing this for? And what is it really that I am so worried about? Because if you could really stay connected to the being beyond the body leaving, then is there really all this loss, or can you just have a look at this in a different way? Because this reality has us, prescribed to the idea that death is the most devastating thing, and we have to, feel this way and that way about it. But if we have a different point of view about it, then we're weird. Well, I'm inviting you to be weird, because maybe you are weirder than you think you are, actually. And and all this stuff about death and dying may not even be your point of view. And but if we're celebrating death, we're definitely different and weird. And again, here is my invitation to you to be definitely different and weird.
Yeah, and what is your reality? And please know there is no wrong choice ever. There's only choice. Thank you, Susie.
Thank you, Viv.
Are we doing the same bat time, same bat panel next week?
No, because I will be on an airplane. But what else is possible? I think we'll skip 1 week. How about that?
Okay, great.
But we'll come back to you with another fun topic with Talk to the Animals. So thank you all for watching and being here, and for your contributions. And thank you, Viv, as always.
Everybody. Thanks, Susie.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.